Our topic today is plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is the border between the cell and its environment. Its main role is to regulate what enters and exits the cell. The amount of molecules in the cell should be strongly defined in order to function appropriately. The job of the plasma membrane is to have a way to keep things out or to allow them in. It has the role of the policeman on the gates of ACS. They check our badges every time we leave the school or we enter it in order to convince themselves that we have to be a part and we are allowed to be a part of the institution. All living cells must keep their balance regardless of external or internal conditions. The cell membrane is composed of a mix of proteins and lipids. The lipids help to give membrane its flexibility, while proteins maintain the cell's chemical climate and assist in the transfer of molecules in the whole membrane. Thanks to the plasma membrane, the cells are fully protected and constantly controlled.
The layered structure of the cell membrane depends on the chemical properties of the lipids that it is made of. Definition for lipids is substances such as fat, oil, and wax, which dissolve in alcohol but do not dissolve in water. Many lipids have a fatty oil part of them, but in chemical language, they have two parts. One is hydrophobic, which literally means water hating, and the other one is hydrophilic, which means water loving. When the lipids and the phospholipids are mixed with water, they are drawn together and they clinch together, and they form the lipid bilayer. And by the way, the phospholipids are common in animal cells. So when they form in they form the lipid bilayer at a in a certain form. The water-loving part is called hydrophilic head, and it is on the side of the water, and the water-hating part is called hydrophobic tails, and it's on the part, not on the part of the water, on the opposite part. So this is drawing, and you can imagine that here is the cell. This is the cell. You can imagine that this is the cell membrane. Here is water around the cell, and here are the hydrophilic heads, which like water, and the hydrophobic tails, which do not like water.
So, I'm going to talk about the fluid mosaic model. Biological membranes are very small. They're around 7 or 10 nanometers, which is a size that is very hard to be seen for people. So, people don't really know the exact structure, even if they observe the biological membrane with an electronic microscope. Therefore, we don't really know for sure the exact look of the biological membrane, but we accept that the fluid mosaic model is generally the way that the membranes are arranged. The fluid mosaic model states that the membranes are composed of a phospholipid bilayer with various protein molecules floating inside of it. The fluid part represents how some parts of the membrane can move around freely if they are not attached to other parts of the cell. The fluid mosaic model is a model describing the structure of cell membranes, in which a flexible layer made of lipid molecules are diffused with larger protein molecules, similar to channels that other molecules enter and leave the cell through. The fluid mosaic in a cell is similar to the mosaic because it contains different pieces in different colors and materials. This fluid helps for the movement of different substances that the cell needs to function normally. The molecules that are the molecules that are the mo- so the molecules that are embedded in the plasma membrane also serve for a different purpose. For example, the cholesterol that is stuck in there makes the membrane more stable and prevents it from solidifying when your body temperature is low. For example, when you say you're freezing, but you actually are not freezing. Not all substances are allowed to enter or leave the cell, and that is when the selective permeability takes an important part in the organization of a living cell. This is an ability that helps cells choose what enters and leaves them. It restricts substances that are needless for the cell and takes the one that the cell can't survive without. So selectively permeable membranes are also called semi-permeable membranes, and they're a very important part of the cell structure.
Thank you.
Thank you.